Ben Rhodes, been a struggle bus for this team.
Rhodes.
Talked to Rich Lucius earlier today, and he felt really confident about what they've had. So maybe tonight's the night. Up the top 10.
It's been a good track for Ben as well, and you know, you would expect Ben's a champion, right? And I know there's been some struggles as of late, but you expect him to find a way to get it done in some capacity, one way or another. There's a great battle behind him between Luke Fenhouse and Dawson Sutton right there.
I like what Sutton's doing early. If he can just hold it under him here on the bottom, he's going to get loose and hits that bump, as we talked about how difficult that is.
I love it. That's a battle for 20th.
Yeah.
And they're just laying on each other.
Right behind them, Stuart Friesen is saying, come on, boys, keep them headed in the right direction.
Luke Fenhouse, that 66 truck, doesn't get an opportunity every week, but he's up in Sandusky, where ThorSport is, putting in the time, making the effort. He wants to make this a full-time ride. So I just can't imagine a driver that you don't get the opportunity every week, but when you do, you're trying your darndest to put on your best foot forward so that you can land that ride full-time next year.
Side by side again, another lap. Great battle here.
Sure seemed like Dawson Sutton had a bunch of friends and family all at the racetrack on pit road earlier.
And you hear right there Dawson as he tried to throttle up. He didn't want to get back to the gas too soon because he couldn't use the whole track, and that's what makes it so difficult to pass. Now you're going to have a truck on the outside of you right here, and you see the bump, you see the trucks hop around right there, just adding to the element of you're probably already a little too tight in the center of the corner. You know it's going to push all the way off of the corner, and you got to be so careful with that truck on the outside.
Kyle Busch, I said he'd have to make that unscheduled stop and lose a lap. Well, he hasn't lost it yet, but he's the next truck to go a lap down. Last time by, he was about 0.8 of a second slower than our leader, Lane Riggs.
We had a restart violation. The 07 truck. See him on the outside bottom of your screen.
Moved out of
truck in line, and he just ducks out just a little bit too soon before the start-finish line, and you just can't do that. You got to cross the start-finish line before you move over there. And the good news is Kyle is still on the lead lap. There was a little bit of thought that maybe he wouldn't be, and I've been looking up and looking at his lap times. He's running some decent laps times if he can stay ahead of Lane Riggs here and clear some of this traffic that's in front of him.
Nascar, we have a competition call with them each week, and they've been adamant about telling the drivers that you must stay in line until you cross the start-finish line. Kyle was clearly out of line, and NASCAR called that penalty. They talk to the drivers about that weekly and make sure they understand.
Continues to lead by just under a second over Corey Heim. Josh?
We know there's so many tracks where Corey Heim really excels, and his numbers here at Nashville are actually really good, but when I talked to him earlier today, he told me he's never truly left this track and been happy with the performance, so they went to work, him watching film, and the team trying to figure out where they could be better. Came back this year, felt they connected the two sides of the racetrack a little bit better, but he gave up that lead to Lane Riggs, came over the radio and saying, yeah, the truck feels similar to it did in practice, but I just don't have the raw speed I need, and that truck is getting tighter and tighter as this run has gone on, so he's going to need a little help to get this truck back to where it needs to be to catch that 34, guys.
Well, the good news is he's going to get some help. Only 5 laps left here in stage number 1.
And look who Lane Riggs has caught, trying to put the 07 a lap down. Matt Crafton just ahead of there. Lane might have trouble holding off Corey Heim with this really competitive traffic in his windshield.
None of these guys are going to want to go a lap down. We know how hard they're going to battle, and certainly there is points and playoff points on the line as we get towards the end of this stage here. So we're going to do everything they can, and it's going to bring Corey Heim back into the battle. I'm sure we'll see him popping into the screen here just a little bit as he's starting to close in again.
Well, we talk all the time about the dominance of Corey Heim's stage wins. Lane Riggs desperately wants to win this stage and not let Corey Heim continue to be the story. But now he's on the inside of Kyle Busch, and Kyle's not giving him much room.
There's Crafton.
Yeah, Corey Heim, 8 stage wins this year alone.
Wow, look at these two.
This is what you normally see up front, Kyle Busch battling Lane Riggs, but now they're battling just to stay on the lead lap for Kyle Busch in the 07.
Exactly.
What's going to be difficult for Lane here is it looks like he can get the runs and go to the bottom to try and pass these guys, but he can't complete the pass, and he's going to have to watch out the mirror and see, because then he gives up those points that are so important that we're talking about. But this might be the one here that gets it done.
It was almost like, looked like Kyle got a little loose and washed up the track, and there goes Lane Riggs. Still can't clear him though.
No, I like what Lane did on that last lap. He ran the middle of the racetrack, got a really strong run. We know he's much faster than Kyle, but can he hold off and win this stage? He's going to block.
Last lap.
Bad angle into the corner.
Stage 1. Corey Heim is all over him.
It's gonna be good.
Can Lane Riggs hang on here and pick up the stage win? Meanwhile, Kyle Busch is hanging on just ahead of Lane Riggs. Does he have enough time, guys?
It's over.
I think Lane's got this one.
Lane Riggs, third career stage win. Corey Heim is right there for second. Raja Riggs, he's led 27 laps so far. Pit stops are coming up next.